Welcome to another live episode of Halftime Adjustments. It's your host, Eddie. I'm my man, G. What's happening?
Tighten up, baby. Tighten up.
Man, cardiac. What else can I say? Welcome, guys, to another show. After a almost heartbreaking, exhausting, heart attack, whatever you want to say, game against the Jacksonville Jaguars today. 33-30, the Titans pull it off. It wasn't pretty. There was a lot of bad things that the Titans did, but there were some good things too. But in the end of the day, it's a victory. First time the team has been 2-0 since 2008. And so you've got to be happy, at least with that part of it, with the start and the success somewhat in some phases of the game that occurred today. So, after coming out of a tough Monday night game at Denver, where they had to go on the road, it was the late game, some things that happened in that game, we saw, Grover, we talked about at halftime last week, how their defense was kind of porous, kind of soft. And you saw that continuation today versus the Jaguars.
Well, and a couple of things, man. First, I'm happy with the win. We're 2-0. Anytime you get a win in the NFL, it's good. But at the same time, you can't be happy with a win when your offense scores 30 plus points, and you need a last-second field goal to win the game. Defensively, you just can't be happy about that. I mean, man, come on now. Talk to me. What is it that prevents us from being on the same page on both sides of the ball? We're either good on offense, bad on defense, or we're good on defense, bad on offense. I mean, last year we talked about it. We said if the team would score at least 21 points a game, 24 points, I think that's what we said, we would win because the defense was playing that good. We scored 30, and it still took a last-second field goal. Now I'll cut the players some slack because you played a late game Monday night. You really had to throw Tuesday out the window. So really you only had Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to really get ready for the game. So I'll give the players a pass. Who I won't give a pass is whoever's running the defense. And I don't care if it's Vrabel, if it's Shane Bowen, if it's I don't care who it is. You're not going to continue to win games like this playing that style of defense. First of all, you're not disguising any coverages whatsoever. Everybody knows what you're going to do. So you're not disguising any coverages. They know when you're in man, they know when you're in zone. So you're not disguising anything on them. And then on top of that, your players are absolutely just, I guess they were playing drained because, Jackson, it's put like this. We're lucky it was Jacksonville. That's what I'm going to say. We're lucky it was Jacksonville and that the offense came to play today because what we saw on the defensive side of the ball today against the better teams in the NFL on this schedule, against, the Deshaun Watson, the Ben Roethlisberger, even the Josh Allens in Buffalo, Mitchell Trubisky in Chicago. That defense keeps playing like that, man. There is absolutely no way you're going to be able to continue to win like this. You can't do it. You got to play better fundamental football, and you got to do a better job of calling a defensive game. That's right. The problem.
Right. And as we talked about last Monday, carrying over from that football game, the lack of getting to the quarterback in any kind of pressure whatsoever, the wide open receivers, the man coverage was suspect. And like you said, if this is a Tom Brady or if this is a Drew Brees or Lamar Jackson, in that case, this game is probably not even close for us. It'll be a shootout and hopeful that you will get a stop. I'm not really sure. Like you said, it's just a base vanilla defense. There's no disguising coverage. There's no exotic blitzes. There's, they're rushing 4 guys most of the game. Sometimes they rush 3 playing man coverage or playing zone, and they made Gardner Minshew look like he was a Pro Bowl quarterback. He probably just got him a contract extension off this. It was very frustrating to watch. And, it's like you said, the defense was gassed. I'm not sure, how hard practice was. I know Vrabel came out the other day, this past week, and said practice wasn't good. And so, you have to wonder what kind of shape these guys are in. Although I will say this, on the bright side, we said the first 2 weeks of the season were going to be pretty ugly. Now, who thought it would have been as ugly on the defensive side of the ball than it was on the offense? The offense is playing good, in my opinion. I know I saw some people on social media was talking about Derrick Henry's not running hard, the run game. I'm not worried about the run game. If you look at the pattern of this football team, you go back to last season, the run game starts off slow and it picks up. There's still some timing that needs to be worked out as far as the offensive line goes. But you have to give them credit. They gave Tannehill a lot of time today to throw the football.
Well, and remember, the one thing that gives Tannehill a lot of time is to play action. Let's just be real about it. In today's NFL for this season, when teams play against us, their number one job is stopping Derrick Henry.
That's right.
That's bottom line. First down, second down, third down, it doesn't matter. Their first job is to stop Derrick Henry. And everybody knows that to stop Derrick Henry, you got to get to him quick and you got to get to his feet. You can't tackle him up high, but you got to get to his feet. The thing is, what we saw also, and I'm going to attribute it to, I think, to his frustration in the way he was running the ball. You saw it got to the point to where he just quit, trying to find this little crease or that little crease. He just started taking it straight up the middle and just plowing through some people. And, ended up with a pretty decent run game today. I mean, 84 yards is what he had, if I'm not mistaken, averaging 3.4 yards a carry. So, 25 carries. But, one thing you like about them is on offense, they stuck with the run. They never got away from it, so which is always good. Now, granted, we were ahead, so we were up 14-0 before the first quarter was over with. But Arthur Smith stuck with the run, which is good. You have to. Of course, Tannehill played lights out. He was throwing the ball, I thought, extremely well. The one pass I will question is actually the touchdown to Adam Humphries. Yeah. When he threw that ball, I was like, oh, no, don't do that. It's one of those, like on the old basketball court, you tell the guy, no, don't shoot it. And then it goes in, good shot. That's the way that pass was. But overall, I thought the offense played pretty good. It could have been better, absolutely. I mean, but considering that you were missing some weapons on offense, I thought we did okay. I think Corey Davis had a good game. Definitely Jonnu Smith had a good game. Came right out the gate. And Adam Humphries, his usual steady game and everything. And I thought Cameron Batson making a couple of good catches also helped out as well. But defensively, man, I'll always preface it and say I'm not the coach, but and they know more than I do. But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. As a longtime NFL fan, the way they're playing defense right now, that won't cut it.
No, and it was very interesting to watch. As you mentioned, some of the other names of players that played well today. So you got to take your hat off to Jonnu Smith, like you said. Adam Humphries. It's good to see that when you have your number one receiver out and AJ Brown, you got other guys offense down the field.
Yeah, and I don't take anything away from Jacksonville. We saw them last week against the Colts. They played well, so I knew coming into this game they were going to probably be pretty decent. But I will say this: I was disappointed, and I had a feeling it was going to happen. We go up at halftime. We're ahead 24-10, and I guess my problem with it is that, they came out in the second half and basically controlled the entire second half. I mean, 2 long drives back to back.
Right.
We didn't adjust to anything, and that just bugs the daylights out of me. And really, it's going to be incumbent upon our defensive captains, our defensive leaders, like a Rashad Evans or a Kevin Byard. You got to change these coverages when they call them in, man, because they're not working. I mean, you got receivers running free all game long. I mean, Gardner Minshew was getting out of, any trouble that he had and getting first down. So you got to play better defense than this.
So we got a Carlton Ross. He says, do we think that not playing in preseason games is having an effect with the defense? I do, Carlton. I really do, because here's two things. One, you're not tackling in the camp on your own teammates, of course, and then you're not really going full speed. And you can see what effect that's having on the defense. Is they're tired, they're exhausted. That first drive of the second half when Jacksonville ate up about 8 minutes of the second half. I was watching the Baltimore game and they were doing the same thing in Houston. But the defense got really gassed, and for the likes of it, I don't understand why we keep on losing containment. When you have outside leverage, you keep that. Clowney jumping inside again today. John Brown, he jumps inside and he had a sack on Gardner Minshew and he let him get outside. And so that right there is this discipline. Doing your assignment, staying on the edge, containing. When you have edge containment, you stay outside. You don't go inside.
Right.
You saw a lot of that today, of those guys jumping inside, trying to beat those blocks with quickness. And you got to stop doing that, because that's going to get you beat. That will get you beat in a heartbeat.
And that's the thing about it, man. When you go back and you look at the game film and everything, you see all kinds of mistakes on the field as far as coverages are concerned. I mean, we got to get Adoree back, because we know Jonathan Joseph ain't the answer. He's hurt now.
Right.
So you're having to play Chris Jackson a lot more than what you ever planned to. Now, granted, he's doing okay. I'm not taking anything away from him. But the bottom line is he's not your number one guy. He doesn't make your defense really shine the way you want it to. He's not bad, don't get me wrong. But, you really miss Adoree, and we got to go one more week without him. You really – I don't know really if Vic Beasley makes that much of a difference. Clowney does, in a sense that people have to pay attention to him.
Right.
But the bottom line is he's not really doing much to add to this defense either.
No, he's not. And I'm glad you brought that up. And I don't know if it's because he's out of shape, because you saw him breathing heavy. But again, he's jumping inside. Now, he did make a couple of plays where you saw him. Of course, one time he did not get blocked. He should have been in the quarterback's face. He got in the face again. It was on the screen pass, but he got released. And so, but like you said, he's really not making any plays right now. And again, I can attribute that to him not being in shape, not being in camp. This offseason, I had a week of practice before the last game, another week this week, in which they probably had him on a pitch count during the week. And so, they said he played 76 snaps last week, which was probably more than what they intended on him playing. And so he's got to get in shape. And I don't think we see him play to his level of potential, which we think, until we see him get in some game shape, which might take another couple of weeks.
Well, and which may be true. I don't know. But think about it like this, man. For all the hoopla surrounding him, like I said, he's just not giving you what all the hoopla is supposed to be having. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he's a tremendous talent, but it's always going to go back to what Warren Sapp said about him at the combine when he came out. He's just not consistent, man. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he's going to be with Vrabel. I know he may be a hard worker, but he's just not consistent. He makes splash plays every now and then, but he's not consistent enough to command what he wants to command. He's not a pass rusher. You saw that even with the straight shot he had with being unblocked. He was slow getting to the quarterback. I mean, for somebody who's supposed to be that big and run a 4.5, he was slow getting there. I'm just being honest. I mean, I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not an NFL coach, but the bottom line was, I think he's just not giving you what you think you're going to get out of him. And I don't know if he is, but I don't know if he will. With this defense and everything, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. It might just be the case of him not being in shape. We'll see. We'll see over the next couple of weeks. Give him a couple more weeks and see. As he gets in better game shape, will it change? And so, a good question by Dion. He says, "Why on earth is Ty Smith not playing? Why is he sitting on the sideline when he's been playing well?" Hey, that's a great question. I would think he would get on the field before Chris Jackson. I would think that he'd be playing some of those snaps that Jonathan Joseph was playing after he got hurt. And so that's a great question. They must have seen something in camp that they like better on Chris Jackson than they did Ty Smith. Ty Smith played very well last year, in my opinion. The last couple of seasons, you really think about it, until he got hurt last year. And he's familiar with the scheme, and he's got the experience. And this goes to show you who is running this defense and who's making the personnel decisions and these packages. Because, like I said, it was one defensive set. They had 3 linemen on the field, and that was it. And so we're not getting the pressure up the middle. Daquan Jones, Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons played solid, but it wasn't good enough. He wasn't making those plays where he was pushing linemen in the backfield. Gaping holes along the line of scrimmage for James Robinson, the undrafted rookie. He had a field day over 100 yards rushing. And so you've got to shore this defense up, and especially get ready to go into to Minnesota when they got an explosive running back in Dalvin Cook and Kirk Cousins. Even though they struggled today against the Colts, don't think they're not going to be ready to play against us.
Yeah, but remember one thing about the Colts, though. The Colts, they're good against the run.
Yeah.
And the thing that's the thing that's driving me crazy. We were good against the run. You're taking a defense that was basically overall in the top 15 last year, and right now this defense has got to be in the bottom quarter of the league as far as stats are concerned. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And again, I'm not the coach, so I'm going to yield to them. But there's definitely something wrong with the way this defense is being called, the way these players, as bad as I hate to say it, I said it last year about the offense, and I don't know if I got to say it again about the defense, but I swear it almost looks like they don't believe in what they're doing. I'm telling you, man, it just, I mean, on the first long bomb to
Chalk.
God, was that Chalk or whatever?
Yeah.
But Malcolm Butler was on him. He gets behind them, so that's not surprising. But Jonathan Joseph comes in. He doesn't even play the ball.
He should have just punched the ball out.
He should have just went for the ball. He was right there.
Yeah, that's all.
And he doesn't play the ball. He goes straight for the man. I'm like, dude, his hands are extended. Go up there and knock the ball loose.
And he's the veteran of the group.
And I know, the oldest veteran, the oldest guy on the team.
Yeah.
But you see stuff like that. It's just like, okay, this what we got going on, something is missing. It's I'm telling you, it's the reverse of what we had last year. Remember last year at this time we were talking about the offense and we couldn't understand what was going on with them because it seemed like they didn't believe in what they were doing. And it's almost like this with the defense. I don't know if they believe in what they're doing or they made some changes and they're just not used to playing the way Vrabel wants them to play, because these 10-yard cushions on man-to-man coverage doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't.
Right, and I agree with you, Deion. Deion said, he said the first 4 weeks was going to be a preseason. I agree. The first 2 to 4 weeks is going to be sloppy football, which we're seeing it. But in the case of the defense, there's some stuff that you just can't make excuses for. And so the coverage, the scheme at least should be better, in my opinion. Now, I can take the mixed tackles because, like I said, they hadn't tackled all off season. Last week was the first real action they've had. But I can't take the not disguising your coverage, not sending some kind of exotic zone blitz. None of that. The only change that I saw that they made, they started blitzing Vaccaro out of the slot.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to work a couple times. Then what do you do after that? And so, and then Malcolm Butler and Christian Fulton playing so far off the receiver, what do they start doing? Throwing slants. You start bringing that slot out. I'm gonna run a slant and hit you every time for 5 to 7.
Every time.
And that's what's
that's what I'm saying, man. These underneath. I'm telling you, I'm gonna say it, and you're gonna laugh at me, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I swear we're looking at the second coming of the pretty.
Oh gosh, no.
I'm serious, man. The way they calling this defense.
I'll buy that one.
The way they calling this defense, man. I mean, come on now. Let's be real about it. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, they're the coaches. They know what they're doing. But I always go back to Vrabel's 1 year as DC in Houston, and he never could adjust to everything that was going on with the injuries and all that. Now, as a head coach, I always give him props. I think he's a great game manager. I think he makes great head coaching decisions and does a good job with that. But as a DC, calling the defense, I just can't see it. I'm sorry. It just makes me nervous, man. At least with Dean Pease, he was disguising things. He was making things difficult for the QB to read, for the lineman to read. What we're doing right now is so simplistic that, I'm sitting at home and I'm seeing what they're getting ready to do, because they running slants and crossings because you're playing 12 yards off the line of scrimmage. What else you supposed to do?
Right.
I mean, when you put it like this, when you're in a situation like we were at the end of the game, and they got to go to the field to get a field goal to tie the game and send it to overtime. You got linebackers playing 9 yards off the line of scrimmage. You got safeties playing 15 yards off the line of scrimmage. 20. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
You're going to let them, and I know they didn't have any timeouts, and your whole main focus was tackling, keeping them inbound, which they did do. Gardner Minshew got his first down, they tackled him inbounds. The other pass he threw, they tackled him inbounds. Luckily for us, Big Jim got his hands up, knocked the ball up, and Harold Landry intercepted, so we end up winning the game.
Right.
But you can't keep doing this, man. And I'm not going to give a pass talking about his preseason. I just am not on the defensive side of the ball. Offensive side of the ball, I can give you a pass about preseason. I can give him a pass last week because you're trying to figure some things out. But this week, defensively, especially when you saw last week against Denver, how you were running that scheme, it wasn't working in the first half. They adjusted in the second half, played much better, played a lot more. If they playing man, they played press man. Mm-hmm. Up on the line of scrimmage, changing the routes, and it helped out. But as soon as they got ahead, they went back to playing off man, and all of a sudden, all the crossings, all the slants became open again. Yep. They never changed.
Nope.
It stayed off man the whole time, and whenever they were playing zone, Gardner Minshew, he was reading the defense like, okay, this is no big deal. They're playing man this time. They're playing zone this time. It was just that simple for him.
They made him look like he was a Pro Bowl quarterback. That's 2 weeks in a row. You had Drew Lock and Gardner Minshew, and Will mentions that he said it makes him look like Hall of Famers. And so, guess what we got coming up next? We got Kirk Cousins, followed by Big Ben. And so, it doesn't get any easier. And if the defense doesn't show it up, man, I'm gonna tell you, the offense is gonna have to score 35 points a game to win. And can we win a shootout? We won today, but that was Jackson.
Well, let's be honest about it. The only reason we won today was because we jumped out to a 24-10 lead in the first half.
Yeah.
We only scored 9 points in the second half.
Right.
9. We scored a touchdown in the third quarter, missed the extra point,
right,
and we kicked that last second field goal. Other than that, we didn't do much.
That was it.
We only had one drive, and everything else we were giving the ball right back to them. Like I said, they were having long drives, 7-minute drive, 8-minute drives on us.
Yep.
And I know Vrabel got on the radio talking about got to get off the field on third down. Absolutely, but you got to call a better game to get off the field on third down. The scheme you're running, you're giving up, even though the third and short, you're giving it away.
Right.
But when it was 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, you're still giving it away because you got a 3rd and 9 and you got your cornerbacks playing 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. You're not going to stop a 3rd and 9 like that.
Oh, Dion said, and Dion, thank you for the comment, man. He says it reminds him a lot like that awful defense that Jerry Gray used to call. Where the defense with 20 yards off the man, the safeties was so far back, they was on the other TV channel.
Yeah, I know.
You're right, Dion.
I'm just saying that, and I give Vrabel his credit today when he spoke to Mike Keith after the game. He was just straight honest about it. No, it wasn't good. It wasn't real. It wasn't good at all. We got a lot of things to clean up. Kevin Byard even said there's a lot of things we got to clean up, and that's all fine and good. But if you don't change that scheme you're running, if you don't clean that part of the game up from a coaching standpoint, it's going to be a long struggle for this defense. We're going to be ranked 31, 32 in total defense for the season with the way they're going right now. Right. And I hate being a doom and gloom guy. I really do. But I told you last week, I cannot stand sloppy defense.
Yeah.
And what we got going on right now just ain't cutting the mustard.
No, and it's not like you don't have the players to play a solid defense, because you do. And the one good thing I can say is that we got a lot of young guys getting experience, and so that'll be. Christian Fulton gets his first career interception today. That was great. Correa played pretty solid out there on the outside, and even see that's why I know the defense is messed up, because you got Correa in coverage today. And why is he in coverage? That's not his game. His game is stopping the run and rushing the passer. But he's dropping back in coverage. No, but he made a good play on that interception where he tipped the pass.
Yeah.
So, again, a lot of young guys getting experience. The play of the game, and I got to agree with Jabbar, is the debacle of the squib kick by Jacksonville, because
absolutely
3 points makes a difference in the game when you look at it. And
absolutely.
Those field goal. He's still struggling for whatever reason. The offensive line didn't block good on the extra point. I'm just gonna say that because I saw they had a lot of penetration. It caused him to push the ball. Who knows? It might have. I don't know. But
he rushed the kick. That's what he did.
That's right. You got to be solid up the middle.
He rushed the kick. But I mean, you're talking about a 51-yard at the end of half and a 49-yard to win the game. And both of those were true. The 51-yard was scary, but you saw it went on a straight line, and you could see it was going to go inside the upright. The 49-yarder was just true. You had to give him his props on that. But like you said, the thing is, what's going to happen is, offensively, there were some things they got to clean up. I mean, that's the first time I've seen an offense get 3 back-to-back false start penalties.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I can't even explain that.
And it wasn't even the same player.
No, it wasn't. And Taylor Lewan got lucky that they didn't throw the flag on him. He got up out of his stance, so that should have been a flag.
Yeah, but then that's when Derrick Henry steps forward out of his stance, and they have to throw the flag then. It's the same thing. People are talking about on the play that the last play where we Harold Landry intercepted the ball, Jadeveon Clowney lined up in the neutral zone.
He was offsides big time.
And got away with it.
I was sitting there thinking the same thing. So he's lined up in the neutral zone. There's no flag. Lucky. I'm going to tell you what, talking about the offensive line, Roger Saffold, he had some plays today where he got really beat bad.
He's back to his old tricks again.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not concerned about the run game so much because there's still some things that need to be worked out there. It's going to come, man. It's going to come. The defense is my concern right now, like you've been talking about. So let's talk about some of the bad things. Here's some of the bad things. There needs to be a defensive coordinator identified, whoever that's going to be. Vrabel cannot call the defense. He is not good at that. 2 games and your defense is probably ranked last in the NFL. Instead, the defense look like they're out of shape. You need to start running some wind sprints, bro, because the defense is gassed. I mean, you got an offense that's driving the ball downfield, winning the time possession, and your defense is gassed after a few drives. And so what does that do? You can't get to the quarterback. You can't put no pressure on them because you're not manufacturing. You got to manufacture pressure. And when you start manufacturing that simple pressure that they were bringing, they start picking that up. Then now what you going to do, right? Gardner Minshew those 300 yards. This is amazing to me. We talked about the soft coverage. The run game is struggling, like I mentioned. I'm not concerned. And the other one is Adore being out. With Jonathan Joseph being hurt, like you said, we need to get Adore back, shore some things up. But, again, the experience by the younger guys is paying off. Amani Hooker played good today. He broke up a pass in the end zone, which Jonathan Joseph would have done on the other side of the field. Great play there. Great tackle. So there's a lot of bad. There's some good. I'm going to look at it on the good side too. Grove, I know you're not right now because you're frustrated with the defense. But, there's some good things that come out. The offense can score. We talked about that. They can score a lot of points. There's weapons all over the field. So not worry about Adam Humphries. He's healthy. You see what he does. He catches the ball. Ferguson. The offensive line is blocking well, pass blocking. I don't think they're blocking that bad on run. There's a few adjustments need to be made. We talked about Roger Saffold.
Well, here, on the running side, the thing is that you got to understand what you're going up against. I mean, like I said, everybody's making a commitment to stop Derrick Henry.
Right.
And you saw today that Jacksonville was committing a minimum of 8, and a lot of times 9. So really the only thing you can do with that, in all honesty, Arthur Smith's got to spread out his offense. You got to put more weapons out there in pass coverage to be able to hand off to Derrick Henry, because right now you just don't have the space with some of the schemes you call it. Don't get me wrong, Derrick Henry is causing some of his problems too, because I would say at the beginning of the game he was a little bit hesitant when he got to the line of scrimmage and everything. And I know that a lot of that had to do with the fact that people were just pressing in.
Right.
But at the same time, he was a little bit hesitant, because I saw in the second half when he finally did get a chance to run the ball, he ran with a better purpose. I mean, one run he actually got hit 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage because he ran into the man, and then actually still got 10 yards out of it. Right. Drug people, so you saw him running with a stronger purpose. So hopefully he's turned the corner on that going into the rest of the game. I don't understand why you would throw a pitch out on 3rd and 1.
Why a toss sweep on 3rd and 1?
Why a toss sweep?
Why?
That makes no sense. That makes no sense whatsoever.
You need a yard, and your running backs lined up 8 yards deep. So you already put him at a disadvantage.
So my whole thing is, like, you would have been better off faking the toss sweep, telling Ryan Tannehill turn and run and get the first down, because everybody's going to follow Derrick Henry. And even then, with the rollouts that he started, you saw this is what a good defensive coordinator would do. They saw that Tannehill was killing them with the play action, handing it to Derrick Henry, rolling back. So what did they end up doing? They ended up bringing another linebacker in and just basically saying, you got the quarterback. You follow the quarterback. Yep. That's an adjustment. And that's an adjustment we didn't see on our side of the ball when we played defense. See, that's what I'm saying a good DC does for you.
Yeah.
Sees things and changes things up.
That's right.
Not stick with the same game plan. That's why I'm saying it's like watching the second coming of the Pretty. Because, the Pretty always had his game plan, and his game plan made work in the second half, but he definitely made no halftime adjustments and prepared for what they were going to bring back. And he never made in-game adjustments to what the offense was doing.
Right.
They just stuck with this is our game, it's going to work. Well, they changed their game plan. You got to change yours. And that's what we didn't see today. We didn't see our defense change their game plan in the second half, and thus you saw Jacksonville go straight down the field on 2 straight drives of 70-plus yards.
70-plus yards.
And get touchdowns out of them.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. You got to be able to adjust to what you think they're going to do and also adjust to what they are doing. And that's what we did. And that's what's frustrating to me when you watch them in Monday night. They knew they were getting torched in the first half. You saw they adjusted. They came out. They played better in the second half. And it's typical of a lot of coaches. You do well in the first half, and you think it's going to do the same in the second half. But you got to understand the other offense is going to go inside and change their scheme. So you got to change yours. You can't remain in the same scheme.
Right. And so I don't. That's the big question. Why was there not an adjustment at halftime? And you mentioned those long drives. 14 plays, 89 yards to start the second half of Jacksonville. They scored. The Titans come back and they score right after that, which is good. That was a good answer by the offense. But then you come back and you give them another 75-yard drive with ease. And so, let's just hope that as they go through this week of practice, that they watch the film, they really could critique the film very carefully and very detailed.
Well,
you got a Minnesota team, although they're 0-2, they can score, and they can score really fast.
Well, my whole thing is this. If you go back and look at the game film, don't just critique the players. Critique critique your scheme, critique your game, your play calling. As coaches, you got to do that, because there's no way on the defensive side of the ball you're going to be happy with the fact that your offense scored 33 points and you won basically with a last-second field goal and a last-second defensive stand by your defense.
Right.
Where, you got an interception at the end. You can't be – you're glad you won, but you can't be happy with that. There shouldn't be any happy faces on that defense whatsoever except for the win. And that's going from players to coaches.
You're exactly right.
Be.
You're exactly right.
It can't be.
I agree. And here's something else that I want to mention. So, Arthur Smith, overall, he called a good game plan. He made a good adjustment, putting Derrick Henry in the shotgun and running the ball that loosened up the box somewhat for him to get more yards. But he was too conservative. down there when they were going for the field goal to take the lead. The play calling to me was too conservative. You got the ball, you're dominating the drive, you're moving the ball down the field. You know, it's just these little dink and dunk plays, and you get in third and long, and Firkser runs a 5-yard route when he needs 8 to get the first down. And so to me, they got too conservative, try to, it reminded me of the Prater again, playing for the field goal, and you got a kicker that's kind of shaking, stealing his confidence. But again, you don't play for the touchdown. And so I really wasn't happy about that drive. The defense was fortunate that Jeffrey Simmons got his hand up and got a little push up front to tip the football. And, Harold Landry makes an interception to seal the win. And so, like I said, the schedule just gets tougher. You got Minnesota, you got Pittsburgh. And
you got Buffalo.
You got Buffalo. Where you
saw got Houston.
Had a career day today.
And Houston is so ticked off right now, it's not even funny.
Right. So, third, Clyde Thompson, man, I appreciate the comment. He said third down conversions killed us. You're exactly right. Couldn't get off the field on third down.
11 of 13, man.
11 of 13 for Jacksonville. This is a team that's rebuilding. Supposedly, right. I'm going to do like this, rebuilding. And we made them look like they are contending for the AFC South championship.
11 of 13 on third downs, man. And they weren't all 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3.
No.
There were some long third downs that you allowed them to convert. And the reason why they went 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 is because you're playing that soft man-to-man coverage and they were running underneath patterns.
With no
pressure on them whatsoever.
At all.
You gave them nothing to think about. It was like we said last week, it was all pitch and catch. Pitch and catch and you tackle. You just ain't gonna win a lot of football games like that. I'm sorry. When you start going against these dynamic offenses that we're gonna be running up against, veteran quarterbacks. I mean, we've gone against 2 young quarterbacks. And they look good against us.
That's right.
We're getting ready to go against a veteran who's desperate.
And
you're gonna allow him to do all the pitch and catch. I know Kirk Cousins is looking at this and saying, I hope they play like that against me.
Oh yeah, that's what he's looking
at. We're gonna do this, because they're giving up the pitch and catch all day long. They're giving up first down and 7 yards. They're getting first down and 7 yards on slants, on crossing routes, because you're not covering anybody. You're playing 10, 12 yards off the line of scrimmage. You keep doing stuff like that, a veteran quarterback, you're gonna make like Kirk Cousins look like the MVP. He's gonna look like Patrick Mahomes.
Right, because if you let a first-year starter in Drew Lock, and then you got Gardner Minshew coming in being the starter this year, and he didn't start the year off last year starting, but you let these guys pretty much control the game. You let the offense dictate the pace of the game the first 2 games. Now you got, like you said, a Kirk Cousins that's got a lot of experience. You got Tajay Sharp, he got a Jefferson out there, he's got Dalvin Cook, he's got Kyle Rudolph, he's got weapons out there, he's got Adam Thielen, one of the best route running receivers in the NFL. It's going to be tough.
You're going against an experienced team.
And they're
they're going to rip you apart. And I guess it may take that for them to realize the scheme that they're running is not working. It may take that. I hope it doesn't. I hope they go back and look at the film this week and realize that the scheme we're running just isn't working.
Will says we could have completed passes against that soft zone.
Exactly. And like I said, and you're not even the problem is you're playing zone, but you're not even disguising it. I mean, it ain't like they can't figure out NFL quarterback can't figure out what kind of coverage you're running.
You know what? It's almost, and I hate to even say this, it's almost like we are in the real preseason right now, and we're not showing a lot. We're just playing base defense and hoping that we can make a few plays just to get us by. I hope that's not the case.
It better not be the case because this ain't the preseason.
I know.
This ain't the preseason. The one thing you want to be able to do, and the one thing I will, even though there was a lot that Dean Pease did last year that I disagreed with, I won't deny that. But the one thing I never could disagree with him on is that he came up with game plans for each team they played against.
Right.
He didn't run the same defense every time. Right now, what we got with Vrabel, what he ran against Denver, he ran against Jacksonville today. You get ready to go to Minnesota with a veteran quarterback. He's gonna look at those both games. If we see this, we know this is what they're running. I mean, it's just going to be that simple. So until you finally get your act together and start calling a decent defensive game, it's going to be like this, man. They're going to have us on the edge of our seat the whole time. And I get it. A win's a win. I'm not disputing the win. And I'm not disputing the fact that sometimes teams come back and they play well. But you have got to play better defense than what you're playing right now. Got to play better defense. Because when you get ready to go against Minnesota's got a good defense. Pittsburgh got one of the best defenses in the league right now. So does Buffalo. So you get ready to go against some stout defenses where your offense won't be able to score 30 points.
Right. You won't be able to score 30 points, and guess what else? You got to rely on your kicker to make a field goal.
Yeah.
So it's gonna get tough, man. And you know, Carlton says Tajay Sharp is gonna look like Jerry Rice. Hopefully not. Clyde Thompson says Ferguson's a good third tight end. You're right, Clyde. He's doing well. And he even mentioned Clyde again. Another good comment. Appreciate that. He said they didn't even use motion to tell if we was in zone or not, which is true. They ran a few times in motion, but they didn't have to because they already knew what the coverage.
They already knew. That's the thing about it. But yeah,
Deion says, why can't Vrabel see that this stuff's not working? So I don't know. I don't know.
That's the thing about it. You know, here's the thing I'm hoping for, to be totally honest. Like I said, with the players, I give them a pass. It was a long, you had a short week. And physically, it's a long week.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you back to your regular schedule. So hopefully, you know, tomorrow's your recovery day. You use it. Tuesday, you're off. Wednesday, you come in ready to go. You know, but tomorrow's your recovery day. You come in, you look at the game film, you get treatment, all of that. Get as much as you can and get back on the schedule, right? And you made it through the first 2 weeks. That's what I want to see. Get back on the schedule defensively and offensively, because still you got to get this running game worked out. Even though, you know, they're stacking the box against us. Remember, in the playoffs, they did the same thing, and we still ran the ball down the throat. So that means our offensive line has got to get better. And the right side of the line, I don't know if they're doing any good or not, because I can't hardly tell. But Saffold, Taylor Lewan, Ben Jones, Nate Davis, Dennis Kelly, they got to come with it, because the schedule don't do nothing but get tougher from here on out. I mean, that's not an easy game on our schedule, you know,
exactly right.
that we're going to be able to run into. There's just not. So you better come better. And I would say this, after the performance offensively we put on in the first half of today, and the egg we laid in the second half offensively, you better be ready, because teams are getting ready to come after you.
Right. Deion says, what good is it going to do giving them any rest? Because they're still getting up 10 to 15-yard cushions on defense. Even the D-line looked like they were playing off the line. He can't stand it. You're right. So hopefully Vrabel takes a hard look in the mirror, him and his coaching staff, and put together a better scheme going into Minnesota, because it's going to be a tough football game.
Either that or go out and hire a DC.
He's got to do something different. Something's got to change this week. All right, the first 2 weeks you got by with this vanilla defense, but not past this week. It's gonna get you beat this week.
You get ready to go against veteran QBs.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just be real about it. And Gardner Minshew is a good quarterback. He's gonna be a great quarterback in this league. Makes good throws and everything, but he's still a second-year player. Drew Lock, a second-year player. So you got away with two basically young players who basically almost took you apart both games. You came out with a win. You better change something, because Kirk Cousins is a veteran. Roethlisberger's a veteran. Josh Allen has had 300-yard games back-to-back for the first time in his career. You got Deshaun Watson coming back. I mean, you got all these games going on. Then you're going to have to go against Trubisky, Phillip Rivers, Lamar Jackson, Phillip Rivers again. You know, you got to start thinking about these things, man. It's getting ready. You get into the heart of the schedule, and you got to defensively, you got to play better, and offensively, you got to play better.
Jabbar says the change he got to make is fire himself as defensive coordinator. That's Vrabel. Deion says,
with the way the defense is playing right now, I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
Deion says the defense ain't even vanilla; it's no flavor at all.
Oh wow, it's something. Like I said, and I'll be the first to admit, we could be reading this all wrong. We could be calling a great scheme, and the players just aren't doing it. But either way, it ain't working.
Something's got to give this week. And so as we move on, let's look at the overview of the AFC South. Of course, the Titans are 2-0, got Minnesota on the road. The Jags go to 1-1. They got Miami on Thursday night, which was a Miami loss again today. They 0-2. The Colts beat Minnesota 28-11 today. And talking about struggling, Kirk Cousins had 3 interceptions and was sacked 3 times against the tough Colts defense. And they got the Jets coming up. They're 0-2. And the Texans, of course, they lost to the Ravens. And the Ravens had 233 yards rushing today and multiple sacks. And they got to go up against Pittsburgh coming up this week. And so, like I mentioned, Kirk Cousins struggled today against the Colts. The Colts, they do what they do. They run the ball. They play solid defense. They tackle. They look better this week than they did last week against the Jaguars. Dalvin Cook had 63 yards and a touchdown, and Justin Jefferson led the receptions with 3 for 44. And so, Minnesota's tough. They got a tough defense. They only had a couple sacks, but they got Ndakwe, which was traded from Jacksonville. They got Daniel Hunter on the other side. Some great pass rushers. Anthony Barr, linebacker. Kendricks at linebacker. And it's going to be it's a tough defense. It's going to be tough to play there. I don't know if they've allowed fans yet back at their stadium. They might have some coming this week. But anyway, it's a road game, NFC North, with a defense that's going to be hungry to get a W against us.
Yeah, they're 0-2. So they're in desperation mode.
Right.
We're 2-0. So the bottom line is, you got to be prepared for that. They're going to come and they're going to hit you hard. They ain't going to keep coming because, they don't want to go 0-3. 0-3 is going to make it doubly tough to make it to the playoffs. And they know that. So they're coming out hard. As far as the AFC South is concerned, going from the bottom up, Houston, let's just be real about it. I mean, they're playing a little bit better, but Watson is definitely missing Hopkins right now. And you can tell that offense is missing Hopkins because it's hard to get the ball out because, they ain't got no one you have to double team. Let's be real about that. Mm-hmm. Indianapolis, again, last week I considered it to be a fluke. This week, I think they recovered from the loss of Marlon Mack. Mm-hmm. Taylor ran good. Phillip Rivers played within stride, and Indianapolis stuck with the run this time. They didn't let Phillip Rivers start all over the place because, as Chris Hope said last week, Phillip Rivers always going to give you a chance.
That's right. Phillip Rivers is Phillip Rivers. That's right.
Yeah, he's Phillip Rivers. So, you like what they're doing okay. Jacksonville is sneaky good. Is what they are. They're sneaky good. They caught Indianapolis napping. We weren't necessarily napping. Like I said, it's a good thing we jumped out on them early because if we had let them warm up to the point to where they got in the second half and the game was tight, they would have killed us. Yeah. So the bottom line is, and even though we're 2-0 and we're currently leading the division, we're not the best team in the division right now. I'm just gonna put it out there. We just got the best record. We're not the best team. And truth be known, if I'm gonna say anybody's the best team, and it's hard, it breaks my heart to say it, I say Jacksonville's the best team.
That's a good point. Between them,
I will say like this. They're playing the best football right now, offensively and defensively. Right. They're playing the best football.
And, without a few breaks here and there. So when the game got tied at 30-30, I was like, uh-oh, because the defense wasn't stopping Jacksonville all day. And so when it's 30-30, the only thing you have left is the offense drive the ball down the field and eat the clock up. And so,
Well, I will say this. Once it was 30-30, you saw the defense make a couple of stops, which surprised me because they hadn't been stopping them the whole second half.
Right. They did. You're right. They did.
Yeah. They made a couple of stops. So I give them that. But see, that's my problem. Where was that when they were driving the ball down your throat? And I understand Vrabel's trying to make sure he gets out of there with no injuries because he got people hurt in practice. People getting hurt all over the league. Saquon Barkley is probably out for the season with a torn ACL. Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey.
Nick Bosa for San Francisco is probably out for the season with a torn ACL. Christian McCaffrey got hurt today. Yep. Garoppolo got hurt. Yep. Parrish Campbell for the Colts got hurt, got carted off. So he's probably gone for the season. So, I mean, I understand wanting to keep players in good shape and everything, but you better start jumping on these wins, man, and playing some better defense. That's all I got to say.
Definitely. Guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Eddie Arnett, G with the Cardiac Titans, 2-0 after a nail biter against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 33-30. Got to go to Minnesota this weekend coming up. Road trip. It's going to be tough. A hungry, winless football team at this point, and they're going to be looking at chops ready to get back in that win column.
Yeah. But we got to be just as the Titans have got to be. We have got to be just as hungry. Yes. I mean, Derrick Henry can't be happy with the way he's running the ball right now. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're glad with the win, but he can't be happy with the way he's running the ball right now. The offensive line can't be happy with the way they're blocking for him. Let's just be real about that. And we've gone ad nauseum on the defense, so I'm not even going to bring that up anymore. But on the offensive side of the ball, yeah, they can't be happy with the way they're running the ball. We're a running team, so they got to be better about that. Tannehill's throwing the ball well, and the play action is helping them as far as protection is concerned. Guys are making catches. You see, Khalif Raymond was not in there.
Right.
Didn't have a ball thrown to him.
Didn't have a ball thrown
because Cameron Bassett was in there. Cameron Bassett's making the catches.
Yeah.
So Khalif Raymond's running back kickoffs and punts. That's probably what his job's going to be. But yeah, after last week, I just saw that to where he dropped 2 passes, and Vrabel. The one thing I will give Vrabel credit for, receivers dropping passes, he ain't taking that one.
No, he ain't gonna take that one. And so 480 yards the Jacksonville Jaguars had for this game. And so, like I said, the defense got to shore some things up. We'll see what happens next weekend when they go to Minnesota and play in a tough environment against a tough football team, hard-nosed football team with some explosive weapons on offense. Thank you again for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Eddie Arnett, my man G Witt. Be with us next Sunday. Join us 7 p.m. right back here. Be looking at the Minnesota game. Hopefully it'll be another W. All in all, through all the bad, they're still 2-0. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. As much as you hate to admit to it, they're 2-0. It was ugly in both wins, and we'll see if they can make it to 3-0 with some better play next week. But guys, again, thank you for joining us.
At least they're not the Falcons, man.
At least they're not the Falcons that let a big lead get lost and blew it to the Cowboys and lost. You score 39 points and you lose the game.
Dude, wait a minute, back up. That's not the play that killed them.
Right.
Onside kick.
Yes, onside kick.
I mean, that should be getting something. A coach should be getting fired or something for that one, because you let the onside kick roll past you to go 10 yards before you try to jump on it, and you let the Cowboys jump on it.
Dion, I agree with you, man. He says Tannehill is looking real good. Tannehill is looking very comfortable in the offense.
Yeah.
As long as he's got time in the pocket, I think he's doing well, because that touchdown pass to Adam Humphries, that was I was really nervous when he just threw that ball off his back foot like that. I didn't know where it was going.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Amazingly,
but I will give this credit. He saw Adam Humphries break, and he put his hand up and he was going to get sacked.
Right on point. That's right. He put it right on point. And so, we'll see what happens. But hopefully the defense is going to come to play next week. I'm optimistic. 2-0. Let's go on the road, man, and get this dub. So, Eddie Arnell, my man G with Halftime Adjustments. Thank you for the love, the support, the comments, the questions. Join us next week, 7 p.m. right here, back at you.
That's right.
Halftime Adjustments. Peace.